3 questions for Kalashnikov that only people who've never fought with one bother to ask. I've had this article brewing in my head for years. I've been itching to write it, but the timing was never right. What finally pushed me over the edge was a funny, yet telling, incident at the shooting range. I managed to completely dismantle one of the most persistent myths about the AK, and I did it in practice in a matter of seconds. And that incident perfectly answers the first, most common question. Question 1. Why is the charging handle on the right? That's so inconvenient. This is the holy grail for all the armchair operators and fans of tactical cargo cult thinking. They watch videos of special forces operators doing slick, left-handed reloads on the move, or they get impressed by IPSC shooters with their left-side charging handles on Kalashoids, and they start lecturing everyone about this design flaw from the Soviets. Look, they say modern Western rifles have a handle on the left or right in the middle, but the AK has it on the right. It's archaic. It's bad for speed, reloading. So here's what happened. I ran into one of these left-side believers at my local range. The guy was confidently arguing that all the real pros use their left hand and that the AK's layout is a relic. The argument escalated to a bet for a bottle of top-shelf bourbon. The terms were simple. All right, buddy, now try to reload in the prone position. Let's see how you like your convenient left hand then. And you know what? That was the end of it. Why? Let's break it down not on a I like it / I don't like it level, but on the level of physics, ergonomics, and brutal military logic. The Kalashnikov wasn't designed for athletes running between cardboard targets. It was born in the crucible of the most terrifying war in human history, and it was designed by men who had lived through that war, not by people who just heard about it. Imagine you're not on a perfect range, but in a trench. Mud, cold, fear. Your job is to be the smallest target possible. You're not standing tall. You're lying down, pressed into the dirt, or hiding behind a small berm. Your rifle is on a rest, your mag, or a small sandbag. Your left hand, holding the forearm, is your main point of support and stability. It's tense. Your right hand on the pistol grip and trigger is relaxed, its elbow resting on the ground. Now, scenario. The magazine is empty. You need a combat reload. Option with the right hand. The AK way you slightly cant the rifle to the right. Your right hand, without losing its connection to the pistol grip, grabs a fresh mag, swaps it, and then gives the charging handle a short, confident pull. All this time, your left hand is firmly holding the weapon on target. You barely lift your body. Your silhouette doesn't get bigger. The movements are economical, precise. A right-handed person's right hand always has better fine motor skills for this kind of work. Option with the left hand, as the experts advise you have to take your left hand off the forearm, your primary support. You have to reach across the entire weapon to get to the right side handle. At that moment, the rifle loses its stable point, the barrel drifts. To reach and yank the charging handle properly, you instinctively have to raise your torso and shift your shoulders. Your silhouette over the trench just got a whole lot bigger. And what does that get you? That's right, a ping off your helmet. On the range, that's a whistle from the range safety officer. In a fight, it's a well-aimed shot from the enemy's machine gunner. And these aren't some moss-covered military regulations. This is taught in pure sport shooting, where everything is about seconds and results. Take biathlon. A shooter in the prone position always reloads their rifle without shifting their rest or drastically changing their position. Now for the real kicker. Let's look at the advanced Western designs. Take the M4/AR-15 platform. It has its charging handle at the rear, kind of in the middle. But what happens when there's a malfunction or you need to manually chamber a round? A properly trained soldier does this with their right hand. Their left hand continues to grip the forearm. Furthermore, the M4 has a forward assist button located on the left. It's designed to be pressed by the thumb of the left hand that's on the forearm. But the charging handle itself, if you really have to use it, is still pulled with the right hand, while slightly canting your head away. Why? because physics and combat logic are universal for everyone. Keeping the weapon on target is sacred, and that stability is provided by the left hand. And what about our left side tacticians? They fall right into a trap of cognitive dissonance. You show them that their idols, U.S. Army Rangers, qualify using their right hand for mag changes, and they start mumbling something about a different concept. The concept is one: survive and win. And Mikhail Kalashnikov understood that better than anyone. The price of universality. Why has this design decision been so enduring? Because it's economically and logistically sound. An army is millions of soldiers with varying levels of training. Teaching a simple, intuitive, and effective algorithm that works in most combat scenarios saves a colossal amount of time and resources. You don't need to train Superman. You need to give a reliable tool to the average grunt and teach him how to use it right. Complex left side manipulations are the domain of special forces, who make up less than 1% of the entire military. Designing a mass-issue rifle for their specific needs is like designing a family minivan based on the requirements of a Formula One car. It's stupid and not cost-effective. Question 2. Why is the stock so short? Was it for short guys? This is where the historians come out to play. You'll hear everything from the post-war generation was short and scrawny to Kalashnikov himself was a short king. So he made it for himself, and it's for shooting while wearing a heavy coat or body armor. Let's cut the nonsense right away. Mikhail Kalashnikov was a man of average height, and the post-war generation that survived the war wasn't exactly made up of frail office workers. Now for my personal experience. In my safe, I have a sporterized AKM from the year 1964, and it has a telescoping stock. Why? Because I'm a guy who's just a hair under 6.5 feet tall, and I only feel a little awkward with the standard stock length in one position, standing. But from a kneeling position, and especially in the prone, I actually want to make it shorter. When I'm lying down, I collapse my telescoping stock to a length shorter than the original AKM. So what's the secret? The AK is a tool for the universal soldier, and universality always requires compromise. A short stock is convenient for carrying the weapon in a vehicle, in tight trenches for airborne operations, and for shooting from awkward positions. Sure, for a tall shooter standing up, it might be a little less comfortable, but that's a problem solved by practice and skill. But you can't make a long stock short inside a cramped troop carrier or a foxhole. The stock length of Kalashnikovs hasn't changed for decades, outliving the hypothetical short post-war generation, the taller draftees of the 70s and 80s, and the guys serving today. That tells you the compromise they found was the right one. And here we see evolution again. The newest AK-12 finally has a standard, adjustable stock. Manufacturers of Kalashnikov-style rifles for the civilian market have been offering modernization kits with telescoping stocks for 20 years now. And guess what's telling? The maximum length of those stocks almost always matches. Yep, the length of the stock on the old, faithful AKM. That's the Goldilocks zone, confirmed by time. Logistics and mass production. Producing millions of weapons with one fixed, carefully determined stock length is a massive cost savings. No extra parts, no complex mechanisms that can break. Cheap, easy to manufacture, reliable. Switching to adjustable stocks is always more expensive, and that switch only happens when the benefit outweighs the cost. For a mass conscript army, for a long time it didn't. Now, with the shift towards more professional, smaller armies, that change is becoming justified. Question 3. Why isn't it modular? It's so last century. Now, this is the most interesting question, one that gets to the very heart of the different economic and military doctrines of various nations. Look, our expert from YouTube channel says again, G. Sauer, Heckler, and Koch, they have whole platforms. One basic rifle can be a carbine, a designated marksman rifle, a squad automatic weapon. But our AK is just an AK. Wood and steel. No modularity. Let's figure out who's pushing this modularity and why. The USSR, and later Russia, has a state-run defense industry. The customer is the state via the Ministry of Defense. The goal is to get the most reliable, cheap, and effective weapon for millions of soldiers. The focus is on unification, where different models, rifle, light machine gun, carbine, are made from one design, with maximum interchangeability of parts, not configurations. The USA and many NATO countries are a classic example of a system where the army is fed by private contractors. And where there's private business, there's competition and, alas, lobbying and corruption scandals covered by the pleasant-sounding word lobbying. The first such scandals related to weapons procurement erupted in the states back during the Civil War. And it's in this system that modularity is born. It's a brilliant marketing move. A manufacturer goes to the generals and says, "Why buy 3 different types of weapons? Buy our one platform. Today your private is a rifleman. Tomorrow you slap a long barrel and a bipod on it, and he's a marksman. The day after, you switch to a short barrel, and he's a CQB guy. It saves money. It's a revolution." It sounds tempting, but let's look at the reality. It gets more expensive and complicated. True modularity means creating a complex and therefore more expensive barrel attachment system that also has to guarantee consistent zero. Imagine, Private Jones, yesterday you were a rifleman. Today you're an automatic rifleman. Go to the armory, swap your barrel, and then head to the range to re-zero your weapon. Sounds absurd, right? Professionalization. An army isn't a mob of generalists. It's a coordinated machine where everyone has a role. A machine gunner thinks in terms of sectors of fire and suppression. A sniper thinks about one precise shot at a long distance. A rifleman thinks about maneuver and fire at medium ranges. Their skills and mindsets are completely different. Turning a machine gunner into a sniper by swapping a barrel is like turning a taxi driver into a 747 pilot by changing the steering wheel in his car. Real-world practice. Here's the real kicker. Take the modular HK-416 platform. Do you often see soldiers in a unit running around swapping each other's barrels? Nope. Typically, a unit gets a batch of weapons in one configuration, and they serve that way until decommissioned. It's much easier to have different barrels already attached to different receivers in the armory, meaning different weapons. This brings us to a key difference. Unification is about common parts, bolt carrier, fire control group, while modularity is about a common platform with the ability to quickly change configuration. For a mass army, the first is always more profitable. The history of the United States itself is very telling. After playing with modular systems, they ultimately launched the NGSW program, Next Generation Squad Weapon, which from the start required the development of a separate rifle, NGSWR, and a separate automatic rifle, NGSWAR. And the winner, SIG Sauer, proposed 2 distinct designs, not one modular platform. And our non-modular Kalashnikov? Well, we had our own trinity, the AK-74, the RPK-74, and the AKS-74U. They have a huge degree of parts commonality, which simplifies training, repair, and logistics, but each model is optimized for its own task. And that is a brilliant time-tested solution. Question 4, bonus. Why is it so outdated? It's 100 years old. Honestly, this one makes me want to file such critics under the category of, let's say, people with very short attention spans and clip-based thinking. Their logic, if it's Russian, it's bad. And to justify its badness, we'll say it's old. They apply the logic of smartphones to weapons. The newer, the better. Let's just take a look at the age of other legendary weapons that are still in service today. The Colt M1911 pistol, designed by John Moses Browning 113 years ago. And even after the formal re-equipping of the U.S. military with the Beretta M9, Marine Corps Special Units in the 2010s brought back a modernized M1911, designated the M45 MUSOC. Old? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. The M2 Browning. 50 caliber machine gun. It's been in service for 90 years. The mounts and sights have changed, but the core gun is the same. And there's no replacement in sight. The AR-15/M16/M4 family. The design hasn't changed in principle since the early 1960s. It's been over 60 years. The Heckler & Koch MP5 submachine gun. It's 58 years old, and the roller-delayed blowback system it uses was developed in Germany in 1945. The MG3 machine gun. This beast, still used by Germany and a dozen other countries, is a direct descendant of Hitler's buzzsaw. The MG42, which is 80 years old. The MG3 modification itself was made 63 years ago. The M240/FN MAG machine gun, created in 1958 based on ideas dating back to World War I. The M24 sniper weapon system. It's essentially a militarized version of the civilian Remington 700 rifle, which is 60 years old. So what do we see? Longevity in the world of weapons isn't a sign of being outdated. It's a testament to a genius design. If something works flawlessly, is simple to make, easy to learn, and effective in use, it will be used for centuries. The story of a much-hyped FN SCAR is very revealing. The Americans started procuring it for units in Afghanistan in 2010, and by 2013, they not only stopped further purchases, but decided to dispose of the ones they already had. Why? The colossal costs of re-equipping and retraining provided no tangible increase in combat effectiveness over the trusted M4. The takeaway? The Kalashnikov assault rifle isn't just a piece of metal. It's a philosophy. It's a concept of warfare, earned and refined through the most devastating war in history. It's a weapon of victory, a soldier's weapon. It doesn't try to be fashionable. It tries to be reliable. And it has been succeeding at that for almost 80 years. You don't need to pity it, and you don't need to be ashamed of it. You need to respect it and understand it. So what did you think, folks? I hope you found this journey into the myths and truths about the Kalash as fascinating as I did to write. This topic is a bottomless pit. We've only just scratched the surface. If you enjoyed this, if you want to keep breaking down these hot topics and seeing this kind of deep analysis, your support means everything. Subscribe to the channel, smash that like button so I know I'm on the right track, and most importantly, drop a comment below. Tell me, which of these myths have you encountered before? What surprised you the most? Maybe you have your own unique take on this legendary design? Let's talk. Your opinion is priceless to me. Catch you in the next one.